Good morning, this is Jack Charting Markets, and this is the pre-market webinar for the morning of Thursday, the 10th of July. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing, learn from it, transfer it to your own chance. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right, I'm still leaning very much towards seeing at least a retest of this high here on ES, and we haven't seen it yet, but I think we are going to. Now, we don't necessarily have to do it now. We could do it after a larger retracement, but really, in terms of divergences and so on, it would be better to do it now, and that might give us a larger retracement and possibly even a short-term high. So I've got to say, while we are watching the tariff wars ramp up, I am thinking actually that we may be coming to the close of this move up, and I am noting that if we actually make some retests of highs here, we would actually start setting up some pretty decent looking daily sell signals, although we wouldn't really have any strong patterns yet, but we'll go through those on the RTH charts. In the short term, ES, no current divergence. In Q, has retested the highs already. No current divergence. ES is just a little short, but we could easily do that today. I did think we might do it yesterday. RTY is pretty close to a retest of the high. It hasn't quite managed it yet. YM less so in terms of being close, but still not far away. DAX and the STX. DAX has actually retested the high, finally made this IHS target after a long time, and ESTX has almost made it. On both of those, we've got weak 60-minute sell signals fixed, but if we do higher highs on those today, those can actually turn into full 60-minute sell signals. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. Okay, looking at the we're a long way, obviously, above the daily middle band. I would note that rising support here is currently in the 61.80 area. That is a potential target, and it would add more fuel to the potential bear fire here if we actually see a breakdown below that, but I'm not expecting to see one imminently. I'm leaning towards seeing a retest of the high first. In terms of what happens when we retest this high here at 62.84, 65, we would get decent quality RSI 5 and RSI 14 sell signals growing. And I think at that stage we might see a larger retracement. It's possible, depending on the rate of tariff news coming out, it's possible we might actually be pretty close to a high. We will see. On the hourly chart, we've still got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed. On the 15-minute chart, as I said, one thing I was looking for a few days ago was a solid break beyond these wedge resistance trend lines to set up the next move up. At the moment, these are still looking as though they may well be bearish overthrows, and the more talk we get about tariffs, and the more action we get on tariffs, the more likely it is that actually these wedges are the final ones. And that we are going to top out and do at least a retracement here, and may well actually just fail altogether. On Qs, we have already seen a little retest of the high here, and that means we've got a possible weak RSI 14 sell signal brewing, and we've already got an RSI 5 sell signal brewing. That is nice, actually. I think we might have an RSI 5 sell signal fixed. Yeah, we do on the Qs. We've also got an early RSI 14 sell signal fixed, and again, the original wedge still looks okay. That looks as though it may well be a bearish overthrow, and none of these support trend lines are actually that far away now. Looking at Dia, retest of the high would give us, again, very nice RSI 14 and RSI 5 daily sell signals brewing. On the hourly chart, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed. And again, this looks may well just be an overthrow of the original wedge resistance trend line. So we will see. All right, let's have a look at IWM. Okay, IWM, we've got, hang on. Right, IWM, we've retested the high. We've already got a possible weak RSI 14 and a possible full RSI 5 sell signal brewing. So we're getting quite a lot of negative divergence here. Again, the original wedge looks okay, and we may well be overthrowing it. I'd have preferred to reach this one here, which is a better quality trend line. But if we're stalling out here because of the reality on the ground, then fair enough. Am I thinking it might still go a bit higher? Yeah. Does it need to? Not really. And if we are going to start getting a lot more tariff news, and we've had a lot this week, then that's going to put a significant amount of downward pressure on the market. All right, DAX. Obviously, we've made a new high there. Nikkei. If we're going to see a big turn here, and if this IHS is going to fail, which it obviously might, we need to get down to 199. It's a long way below, but nonetheless, I think that is at this stage that has to be seriously considered as a possibility. If that is the case, then we're probably not going to make the high retest on Nikkei either. And obviously Japan's front and center in terms of places which are getting some. I think they've just had a letter talking about 30%. That's outrageous. They're not going to be happy. They've got elections this month as well, which won't be helping. But this is a nice flag, and we could break up. Of course, we could just form a bigger flag, move down here, and then move up again. But we will see. All right, great. Let's have a look at. Right, let's have a look at DX. DX, we've broken up from this IHS. We haven't really delivered a great deal on it so far. We're still on an RSI 5 buy signal on the daily chart, and we've still got a nice looking target, but declining resistance is now below the target as time has passed. ZW, we've broken down from the wedge, and I'm wondering about a possible high retest. That could set up a nice looking double bottom. With a target down at the lows, but equally we don't need to do that because we've got a possible head and shoulders formed here too. Ideal right shoulder high would be at the weak pivot area, maybe 114.28. So we're not that far away from that. Either of those could get us back to these lows, and I'm liking a retest of these lows on a variety of the charts on TNX, on TLT, and obviously it's a pretty nice looking setup on ZB. On the end, could we be forming a head and shoulders here? Yes, it's not as nice, but it's not awful. I'm leaning, it would be a better option if we would go back and retest the high and fail there. All right, let's have a look at CL. We had a sell signal that's reached the possible near miss target. So we haven't actually gone down a great deal. But I am wondering if we're going to see a significant move down on all of them. We saw basically a 50% rally on heating oil. Basically a 50% rally on thereabouts on gas oil. We've got a 60-minute sell signal there, which has now reached target. Wondering about more downside, to be honest. We've got a possible falling wedge here on NQ, which is, NG. I was wondering about. I moved all my trend lines yesterday night, which is kind of annoying. Hang on 1 second. That should be there. Right. So I am wondering, but it wouldn't surprise me to see this continue down. No current positive divergence. On GC, we are still kicking around under the monthly pivot. That needs to convert, but it may be that on GC we're going to need to wait for the first serious equities weakness. But as I said, in terms of the tariff news, we may not be waiting long. 50% tariffs on copper, 50% tariffs on Brazil, 30% tariffs on Japan, 30% tariffs on South Korea. There's a trend here. Serious talk about 200% tariffs on pharmaceuticals, which obviously would be heavily targeted at the European Union. The European Union is the US's largest trading partner, and we will see how that develops. But I think there's been a lot of aggressive talk about the European Union. We might actually find that's not going too well either. SI, we're still over the weekly pivot. This double top still looks absolutely nowhere. In fact, when I rolled the chart, I took out the arrows. I'm leaning towards seeing a retest of this high next. Palladium, this is good news. We came down to in terms of the double top, we came down, we tested the potential support on it, and we've gone straight back up to the highs. Now, this could obviously be a larger double top, but equally, it might be the start of a break up. And certainly, we've seen a very good last 24 hours on Palladium. Wondering if we might see the same on platinum. A little bit of negative divergence here, but barely worth mention. HG is consolidating after obviously 50% tariffs went on copper. So this is what we're seeing here is panic buying while people want to get copper ahead of the tariffs, because copper obviously is a very, very widely used material in American manufacturing of all kinds, from houses to, well, everything really. So people are trying to get in under that, but obviously that's going to be a temporary thing. After that, I suspect copper demand is going to drop quite a lot. So I'm wondering if an overall double top is forming here. All right, looking at the others, On the currencies, still kind of looks like a bull flag on the euro and on GBP as well. Actually, USD JPY saw a big move up here. Not really seeing anything suggesting that will turn. USD CAD, wondering if an overall triangle is forming. Australian dollar looks like it is returning back up to the high. I mean, I've got mixed feelings about DX from here. And the bigger picture, of course, we're still in this huge inflection point and will be in it for a while. KC has broken up slightly over a not particularly significant resistance trend line. We've got a 60-minute buy signal fix. That's actually getting pretty close to the target. We could be forming an inverted head and shoulders here. Looking at sugar, we've got a move up, test of the monthly pivot, possible wedge here, which is now breaking down. This could be a bear flag setting up a retest of the low. But I am wondering if on the bigger picture, we're setting up a larger move and might be setting up, let's say, a double bottom here, retest this low, and then a move up to maybe the 17.75 to 18 area. I'm looking at CC, still got a nice looking potential level bottom, kind of trading sideways. CT, head and shoulders, hasn't failed yet. Could just fail and head straight up. We've got a very nice, on the bigger picture, double bottom, which might play out with resistance up here. So that is looking pretty nice. Wondering if we might need another retest to the low before we have another crack at delivering that. Lumber, we've got a nice looking double top here, and wondering if this is the short-term high on ZW. Wondering about lower, but because we already made the full retest this low after this spike up last week on corn, and we've already made it on soy. We've got buy signals on both of those. So we didn't make it on wheat, but obviously, the markets are different, but we'll see. This looks like a bull flag on soybean oil. On live cattle, we made the IHS target. We retested this high, and I'm wondering if this could be, well, obviously this is a potential level top setup, so we'll see how that goes. Live lean hogs, we've got a breakdown and head and shoulders, but really that's done very little since it actually broke down. So, keeping an open mind as to which direction that will end up in. All right, great. Let's have a look at questions. Okay, in terms of EFs, I'm leaning fairly strongly towards a retest of this high. I'm wondering very seriously whether we are actually in the process of putting in a top here. Tariffs were awful for the market when we were in March and April. I don't really see any reason why they'd be any better now. We will see how that develops, but the more talk there is about tariffs, the more likely it is that this move in equities is over. Or ending. And actually, it's not an awful setup for doing that on the original trend lines that I posted. So I would love to see a move up that extended into December. I think with a lot of tariffs, I think that looks like a long shot. So I just can't see any possible reason why that could happen. Strange things do happen, but that would be very, very counterintuitive. So I'm actively looking around for signs of top. Not seeing a huge amount here at the moment. If we could see high retests on ES and DIA particularly, then that would actually improve the case for it a lot. We shall see. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap, guys. I will catch you tomorrow. And everyone take care.